Welcome to this predicted paper from onmaths. This paper represents the best guess for the upcoming exams. Please use this paper in addition to your other revision. You can complete a unique version of this paper by going to our onmaths site. onmaths is full of free content to help you prepare for your exams, such as topic-based papers, demon questions and mini mocks. If you like what we do, please consider subscribing. So we're going to start by understanding that all lines form or can form an equation y equals mx plus c, with m being the gradient and c being the y-intercept. It says here the gradient is -2, so we've already got a bit of a head start with this, but we don't know what the y-intercept is. So we're going to use this first set of coordinates to work out what the y-intercept is. So y is -31 and x is 15. And we're going to use this to solve and find out what c is. So first thing I'm going to do is, well, just tidy this up. 2 times 15 is 30, so -30 plus c. And I'm just going to add 30 to both sides to get c on its own. So that would be -1 equals c. So c is -1. So we now know that the equation is y equals -2x minus 1. And we're told that the y is -37. And we're looking for the x value, which they've called w. So let's get our solving lines in. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is add 1 to both sides. And so it would be -36 equals -2x. I'm going to now times, or divide everything by -2. And a negative divided by a negative is positive. 36 divided by 2 is 18. And then obviously that gets rid of the coefficient of the x, so it's just x. So x equals 18. So the x value is 18 and the x value is the w value. So w is 18. So the first thing we're going to do is work out the area of the trapezium. And the formula for that is half brackets a plus b times h. Now a and b have to be the parallel sides. So here we've got the 2 parallel sides here, which I'll just pick a different colour, here and here. So that is a and b. And then the h is the perpendicular distance between them. So perpendicular means it hits it at right angles, so that's what we've got here. So the area would be half times a, which is 28, plus b, which is 14, times the height, which is 14. And so that would be 294. Next we'll do the circle. Now it doesn't look like we've got anything for the circle, but actually the height here is actually the height of the circle as well. So the height of the circle is the same as the diameter. So the diameter of the circle is 14. Therefore the radius would be half of that, which is 7. And the area of a circle is pi times the radius squared. So it would be pi times 7 squared, which will be 153.938 blah blah blah. Now I'll keep that in my calculator, because next thing we'll do is the shaded area part, and it says we want to work out the area of the shaded region. So the area will be the total area, which will be the trapezium, take away the area that we don't want, which is this bit here, which will be the circle. So the trapezium's 294, the circle's 153.93 blah blah blah, and when you do that you get 140.061 blah blah blah. It says it wants it to 2 decimal places, so it would be 140.06. So I'm just going to write this out a little bit bigger, just so we've got a bit more room to play with. And I'm going to start by putting my tramlines in. Anytime it says solve, I always put my tramlines in. We can start by either multiplying out the bracket Or we can be clever and just divide by 5 both sides. And that'll leave 6x minus 39. And 15 divided by 5 is 3. Then I'm going to add the 39 to both sides. And so we've got 6x is greater than or equal to 39 plus 3, which would be 42. And then we're going to divide by 6 both sides. And we've got x is greater than or equal to 7. So here we can just draw in 2 extra lines, and we can see that it makes a right angled triangle. And we're asked to find the length of the line segment AB. So we're asked to find what this length here is going to be. And we know what the other lengths are. We know that this is 2 and this is 3. So we're going to be using Pythagoras. And Pythagoras, we start by labelling the sides A, B and C must be the one that's opposite the right angle. And so we know Pythagoras is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. A is 2, b is 3, and 2 squared plus 3 squared is going to be 13. And then we're just going to solve that by square rooting both sides. So the square root of 13 is 3.605 blah blah blah. And it asks it to 2 decimal places, so it's going to be 3.61. So for this question, what we need to do is factorise 4t plus 6. Now factorise means put it into brackets. So if I try, what I can do is I can actually put a 1 on the outside here. So 1 times 4t plus 6 is 4t plus 6, but the question clearly states that it is higher than 1. So we need to find another number that's higher than 1 to factorise this with. So if we look at 4t and 6, well, they're both in the 2 times table. So I can put a 2 on the outside here. 2 times 2t is 4t, and 2 times 3 is 6. So what we can do is we can just check that out with smiles and rainbows. Put all my times down there to remind me to times it. So 2 times 2t is 4t, 2 times 3 is 6. So that works because that is the same as this in the question. So we know that 2 times 2t plus 3 works. In fact, it's the only one that works with it being an integer. So we therefore know that the known side, because it says it's a known number, is 2. And the other side will be 2t plus 3. And then when you multiply them together, you get the area of 4t plus 6. So our answer, because it says the length is the known number, so that's the length, then we're finding the width, which is this one here. So it's 2t plus 3. A frequency polygon is like a line graph. In fact, it's a type of line graph. But it is when you have the data in a group. So we've got the data here as a group of 0 to 80. So there are 11 at 0 to 80, and then 18 at 80 to 160, and 6 at 160 to 240. Now, where am I going to plot this? It will involve putting a cross somewhere on this graph, and it would seem unfair if I put it all at 0, and it would also seem unfair if I put it all at 80. So what we do is we find the midpoint, the halfway point between 0 and 80, which is obviously 40, and we plot our coordinate there. So it seems to be going up in 2s, so it would be there. So that's at 40, 11, the coordinate. Our next one, we plot at the midpoint again, which would be 120, and it's just halfway between 80 and 160, and it's 18 high, so it would be up here. And then the final one is at 200, and it will be 6 high, so 200 is halfway, and we're looking at 6 high, so it will be here. Then when you're done, you need to join them up with straight lines. So I'm just going to get my ruler, join them up, perfectly straight lines, and there we are. The formula for an exterior angle for a regular polygon is 360 divided by the amount of sides. Now here we're given the fact that the exterior angle is 30, and we're looking for n, so we just need to rearrange the equation. We can times both sides by n. And then divide both sides by 30. And so we've got n equals 360 divided by 30. And when you do 360 divided by 30, we get the answer of 12. So it's a 12-sided shape. So there's a few different ways of working out this question, but they all involve working out the area of the cross-section. And the cross-section is the part here. So we want to work out the area of this. And what we can do, and this is one of the methods, is we can work out the area of the full rectangle, which will be 28 by 19. And we'll call this A. And then we can take away the little part that is not there. So the missing part, which is going to be 14 across. We've got to do a bit of maths here to work out how high it is. So we've got 28 in total, 21 we don't want, so that would be 7 high. We're going to call this B. So work out the area of A. It's going to be 28 times 19, which is 532. Work out the area of B, which is going to be 98. And then to work out the area of the cross-section, we're going to do the big rectangle, take away the small one, take away the bit we have missing, and that will leave 434. Now the volume of any prism is area of cross-section, so cross-section area times the length. So our area of cross-section is 434. Our length is basically how 3D the shape is, so it's going to be 10. And so that would be 4,340. So our answer is 4,340 centimetres cubed. So we're given a right angle triangle here, and we're asked to find length AC, which is this length here, and we're given two other lengths. So we're going to be using Pythagoras. Pythagoras involves us labelling the sides A, B and C, with C being the one opposite the right angle. And we know Pythagoras is A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Both A and B here are 4.9, so it'd be 4.9 squared plus 4.9 squared equals C squared. So we're going to add the 4.9 squareds together, and that will give us 48.020 blah blah blah. And here we're going to do a bit of solving. So we're going to square root both sides to find out what C is. So square root of 48.020 blah 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 is 6.929 blah blah blah. Rounded to two decimal places, this will be 6.93. The word truncated means that we just literally cut off the next number along. So if we imagine this is our number, we just cut it off. So it's not the same as rounding. We just don't change this digit at all. We just cut off the remaining digits. So the smallest number it could be before it was cut off is 79.500000. The largest number it could have been, well, it could have been 79.5999, etc. So that's the largest it could have been. So to do our error interval, well, the smallest it could have been is 79.5, and it could have been 79.5, and we'll call this x. But we're looking at any number that is less than 79.6. So any number that's less than 79.6. If it was 79.6, then when we cut it off, it would show as 79.6. When it's said that y is inversely proportional to x, it means that y changes as 1 over x changes. And to write this in an equation, all we do is we just write y equals k over x. Now k is something we need to find. So what we need to do is find out what a value of y and a value of x are somewhere on the graph that would be formed from this, and we've got that in this question. So we know that when y is 7, then x is going to be 7.9. And what I need to do now is just draw my lines down. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just times both sides by 7.9. And so we have k equals, and it'd be 7 times 7.9, which is 55.3. So we know that k is 55.3. So I'm just going to rewrite this equation here, or this formula here. But instead of k, I know that it's going to be 55.3. So our answer is y equals 55.3 over x. So this question will probably need a Venn diagram just to make it a bit easier. So I'm going to draw a Venn diagram. You don't need to. If you can work out how to do this question without, you can do. But I think this is a really tricky question to do without a Venn diagram. So it says that they picked two activities. It was either painting, which I'll put as a P, and sport, which I'll put as an S. So let's start filling in the information it gives us. So 11 picked painting and sport, so that will go in the middle because that is painting and sport, and 11 didn't pick painting or sport, so they can sit on the outside. Now here's the problem. It says twice as many people picked sport than painting as one of their activities. So it's saying that the total number in, and let's just show it, the total number in the sport circle is twice as big as the total number in the painting circle. Now, what we can do is we can say, okay, so if the painting we label as x, then the sport will be 2x. But if you look, we've already got a number already in the sport, that 11 there. So in algebra, this will be 2x, take away the 11 that we already know about. And the painting is the same. We know the whole thing is x. So what we're going to do is we're just going to take away the bit we know there, which is the 11, and it will be x minus 11. Now we know that there are 66 students in total. So what we can do now is add up all of the parts of the Venn diagram and get it equal to 66. So x minus 11 plus 11 plus 2x minus 11 plus 11, and all of that will equal 66. This is going to be some solving, so we're just going to put our lines in. Now here we've got x plus 2x, which is 3x. And if I put my tool right, there we are. And we've got minus 11 plus 11, minus 11 plus 11. Well, those just cancel out. So we're left with just the 3x equals, and then 66. I'm going to divide that 3 both sides. So we've got x equals 22. So if we go back to our Venn diagram now, we can fill in the blanks. So instead of x minus 11 there, we've got 22 take away 11, which is just 11. Instead of 2x minus 11 there, we've got 22 times 2, which is 44, take away 11, which will be 33. So it says, find the amount that picked sport and not painting, which is this 33 here. There are a few different ways you could answer this question. I'm going to do it with a tree diagram, but you didn't need to draw a tree diagram to answer this question. So we've got our first tree, which is our first bus. And the choices are male and female. And we've got our second kind of branch, I suppose. And it's still male and female. And this is our second bus. So the property of male on a first bus is 9 over 15. And therefore the property of female is 1 minus 9 over 15, which would be 6 over 15. Male on the second bus is 7 over 15. And so female would be 8 over 15, because they need to add up to 1. And it's independent, so these will be the same. And the question is basically asking what is the probability that both will be female. So to have both female, we need to have gone down this line at the start, and then this line again. Okay, so looking at the fractions along the way, it's 6 over 15 and 8 over 15. The word "and" in probability means times. So whenever you're finding the probability of getting to an outcome, so this outcome will be FF, because they're both female, you are multiplying the fractions that you go across. So it would be 6 over 15 times 8 over 15. So 6 times 8 is 48, and times the bottoms, 15 times 15 is 225. Now you can actually cancel that down. So what you can do is you can divide top and bottom by 4, and that will give you 16. Is it 4? No, you can times top and bottom by 3, and that would be 16 over 75. So either 48 over 225 or 16 over 75. We're going to start by drawing x equals 3.5 onto our graph. So x equals 3.5 will be a vertical line where x is always 3.5. And we're asked to find x is equal to or greater than 3.5. So where on this graph is greater than 3.5? Well, it's going to be on the right hand side of it, because all the coordinates here are more than 3.5. It's got to equal to and greater than. The equal to means that it will be a solid line rather than a dashed line. So to draw a box plot, we need 5 points. We need the lowest point, lower quartile, median, upper quartile, and highest point. Now we already have the lowest and highest points, so we can put those onto our box plot now. So the lowest point is at 0 and the highest point is at 30, as we can see on the cumulative frequency graph. So we need to now find out where the median is. Now the graph goes up to 20, the actual line goes up to 20, so the median we're going to find at 10. We're just going to draw a line across and down, and that looks like it is 17. So our median will be at 17. So we're just going to draw a line at 17. Get it just perfect. There we are. Okay, next thing we're going to look for the lower quartile. So if the median we drew a line across at 10, the lower quartile would do it at 5, which will be here. So that's at 12. So we're just going to draw a line up from 12, fill in this box, and we can actually fill it in with the lowest point. And lastly, we need our upper quartile, and we do that by adding the 5 and the 10 together to make 15. So we're going to draw a line across from 15 and down, and that's 23. So a line up from 23. Try and get this as nicely as I can. I need to move that line a little bit. Oops. There we go. And let's fill in the last bit, join it up with the highest point. And there's our box plot. So the first thing we need to realise is that we can create a right angle triangle from within this cone. So if I draw a line from the top going downwards, a line to the right and a line up, and we can label the sides. So we've got 30 here, and we've got 10 at the bottom here, and we're looking for this angle here, which we're going to call Y. And if I just highlight all of this and move it across, then we're obviously going to be using trigonometry to find out what Y is. So first step with trigonometry is, well, find out where the right angle is, which is there. And the one opposite the right angle is the hypotenuse. The one opposite the marked angle is the opposite. And the one between the right angle and the marked angle is the adjacent. In this question we're not using the hypotenuse because there's no letter or number next to it. And so I'm going to do my SOHCAHTOA, SOHCAHTOA, and we're not using the H, so we'll cross out these two. We're using the TOA, and that stands for tan the angle, which in this case is y, equals the opposite, which is 10, over the adjacent, which is 30. And so tan, so we're going to inverse tan both sides, so we're going to have to solve this. So let's get my lines in, and we're going to inverse tan both sides. So that will just leave y on the left hand side, and then we need to find out what the inverse tan of a third is. And the inverse tan of a third is 18.434 blah blah blah. Now what I did at the start was I moved the diagram away from the cone. Let's just move it back and we'll see the fact that y is exactly half of x, because we've done a line straight down the middle. So to find out what x is, all we need to do is double y. So x is going to be 2 times y, so that's going to be 2 times the 18.434 blah 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 blah, and so that is going to be 36.869 etc. And it says it wants it to correct 2 decimal places, so that's going to be 36.87 degrees. You can complete a unique version of this paper by going to our onmaths site. onmaths is full of free content to help you prepare for your exams, such as topic-based papers, demon questions and mini mocks. If you like what we do, please consider subscribing.